Okay, so our next presentation is coming from Muje. She's going to be talking about sexual and reproductive health.
Apology, we have to alter the agenda a bit, and I must thank you so much for having me here. I am very honored to be in your midst, seriously. And unfortunately, I have to leave after this presentation because I had a prior appointment for 12. But please pardon me. I'll try to take questions and I'll leave my contact information if anything. This is a topic I care so much about, so I hate that I have to do it so rushed. But it's great just to be here. Thank you for listening in advance, and feel free to engage me with your questions. So as they're pulling up the presentation, my name is Muje, and I'm a public health professional. Well, I like to say global health because I studied global health, but specifically focused on women, children, and adolescents. So today I'll be focused on adolescent sexual and reproductive health. And my topic is why it matters. Yes. So yes, young people, boys and girls between the ages of 10 and 19. And adolescence is a transitioning period because by the time all over the world, really, by the time you hit 18, people begin to consider you an adult. But it's in Nigeria that I heard that adulthood is even beyond 35. Like our category youth, when we say youth, we have up to 35. And you can see a 30-something-year-old person still in their parents' house, and it's okay. But elsewhere in the world, we feel like once you hit 18, because 18 is the age where we feel like you have a sense of ownership, you know who you are. But though I know we even find some 40-year-olds who don't fully know who they are. But okay, let me get back to the focus of my presentation. So globally, we have about 1.2 billion people who are adolescents, who are between the ages of 10 and 19, and they make up 1 in 6 in the total population. In Nigeria specifically, 41 million people are adolescents, and in Nigeria we have about 180 million total population. So they make up about 22.5% of our population. And over half of young people, 10 to 19, live in rural areas. So just at a glance, adolescent sexual and reproductive health, this information is pulled from the Nigerian Demographic Health Survey of 2013, as well as the WHO report. And there are over 4.7 million Nigerians who are aged 15 to 19. They are currently sexually active. Many times we don't want to talk about this, but this is the reality. So when you have that huge number of people who are sexually active, how do you make sure that they're not having kids when they're not ready for it, but also that they're protecting themselves from getting infections? And then the age at first sexual intercourse for adolescent girls is at 15.9, according to the report. And then for boys, 17 years. I think we should all not be surprised that boys always have a higher, in terms of, girls start earlier than boys in terms of sexual activity, because they are mostly the older men that are reaching out for the younger girls. And then among unmarried adolescent girls aged 15 to 19, 44.9% of them are not using any form of contraception. And contraception is basically how you keep yourself from having a child. But yet, 74.9% do not want to have a child in the next 2 years. So there's an irony there. You're saying that young people don't want to have a child, but they're not using forms of contraception. And there are various forms of contraception. So I want to address the key issues that are impacting adolescent health. This is not a very specific presentation for a particular state, because I like to, when I do my work, I travel through states in Nigeria, so I've just identified the key issues that are impacting all of our young people. And early pregnancy is an issue, early and child marriage, which is mostly associated with northern Nigeria, but it happens in other areas of Nigeria as well. Unsafe abortions. So many girls get pregnant and they go to quacks, and abortion is illegal in Nigeria, so when you get pregnant, what do? So unsafe abortions, sexual violence and abuse, which is another topic that really breaks my heart so much. So many of our young ladies and young men are being abused in their homes, in schools, in communities. So these are things that impact adolescent health. And also sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. We also have social cultural practices, and one of the things I look into is female genital mutilation, where it's happening, and how this contributes to the health issues that girls have, especially around delivery. When a girl has been cut as a baby, she will have some complications depending on how she was cut and how the procedure was done. These are things that impact adolescent health, and then lack of comprehensive sexual and reproductive health information, as I said. And that's including information on puberty and family planning. Because many times when girls begin things like menstruation, nobody really talks to them about what it means, or the information they get is like, don't stand next to a boy, or like once you talk to a boy, like girls start running away from boys when they hit their period. I was just in Bayelsa last week talking to some girls, and they told me when they started, one girl for a whole year, she didn't even tell her mom. And then another girl said they don't say anything to anybody because somebody might take your blood and go and do things with it. There are just so many things that we don't even, I mean, these are people that someone actually talks to them, but for other people, nobody says anything. So those don't even know, oh my goodness, what happened? How am I supposed to take care of myself? So just simple things like that. That is sexual health. How do you tell a girl at 11 or at 10? Some girls start at 10. You're going to begin menstruation before they start, so they're prepared. And also family planning. Young people need to be talked to about family planning, especially in northern Nigeria where we have child marriage and girls are getting pregnant when they get married, and they're not able to space your children in a way that they can effectively take care of their kids. So we need to engage men and women in talking about how do we plan our families. And then also poverty, just simply lack of information and resources impact adolescent health. So some of the interventions and solutions, because we shouldn't just talk about problems, just talk about what we're doing about it. And we propose youth-friendly health services. In Nigeria, we're supposed to have health centers that have youth-friendly health facilities there, but I mean, usually young people cannot access these facilities. And when we say youth-friendly, there are various criteria for what makes a place youth-friendly. Is it accessible to a young person? Is it affordable? Is it a place where they can go and ask a question and not be seen as like, oh my goodness, like you go in and ask for a condom. Like, you're 13, what are you doing with a condom? Like, seriously? But so we need to make sure that young people are able to go into these places and get help that they need. Also counseling. A guy has been disturbing me in my neighborhood. How do I say no? Like, or if I want to have sex, but I don't want to get infected, I don't want to get pregnant, how do I keep myself from these things? We don't have those kind of places, at least they're very rare in Nigeria. So these are some of the things we're working with the Ministry of Health to push. Like, and we even have identifiers that say this is what a youth-friendly center looks like. I've been to some places, like in Lagos, there's Action Health Incorporated that works with young people and makes sure that they reach out to young people and young people can come in. And then, like I said, comprehensive sexuality education, I'm going to continue talking about it. We have in Nigeria the Family Life and HIV education curriculum. How many people have heard of it? Family Life and HIV. Are you serious? Okay, family life, but I mean, that's been a debatable topic. I think it was made into a national curriculum back in 2002 or 2003, but still it's not being implemented in all states. I think Lagos is actually a model state because I worked in Lagos for a year in 2014. And so basically, FLHE is the nationally approved curriculum. So they've gone through the curriculum to know what can we be teaching our young people in secondary school, like it's age appropriate for them. So anyway, my assignment to you is go and look it up, Family Life and HIV Education. That is one national response. It's a national response that was championed by NGOs and some state agencies to make sure that young people have the information they need. And it's mostly in schools. It's implemented by teachers. So teachers are trained to teach the curriculum. And then we also have community level programs, education, empowerment, safe spaces. I've traveled to Kaduna and some other areas, and one of the things I see that works, especially for girls, is having a place where they can come and talk about the issues they're having. But we also need safe spaces for boys. Many times we neglect the boys, but boys too, they have to control their hormones. I mean, we're telling the girls to avoid pregnancy, but who's getting them pregnant? So we need to consider these solutions. The stakeholder roles, everybody has a role to play, really. My conclusion, okay. So everyone has a role to play, basically. I'll keep it at that. And then this is my last slide before my references. I want to talk about me, what I'm doing. I do, in addition to doing research throughout Nigeria, I have a nonprofit, Strong Enough Girls Empowerment Initiative. And basically, we advance girls' health through education, mentorship, and advocacy. And we do school workshops on sexual and reproductive health and girls' rights. We also advocate for the need of services. And then we do girls-centered empowerment programming. So that's our contact information. You can visit our website. We're based in Abuja, but we also work in Lagos, and by God's grace, we're expanding to some other states. So that is it for me. I should go back. Oh, yes. So basically we really need to think about what are we doing to prepare the next generation for family life. I mean, everybody in Nigeria, most people at least want to have a family, but how do you make sure you're healthy to take care of the family that you're bringing up? So thank you very much for listening. I will take your questions then.
All right, thank you. So we have time for 2 questions. Okay.
I hope you come to you.
If you invite me, I'm always there. We'll talk, yeah. Okay. I was in Jos yesterday.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation as well. Yeah. One area of sexual and reproductive health highlighted by LD 2008 was looking at targeting marginalized groups. Yeah. And one of the things you mentioned about abortion being illegal or criminalized in Nigeria, what effort is the organization doing to try to turn that? Because whether we like it or not, abortion still happens, and it still happens at the back door, and then it still contributes significantly to maternal mortality. So what is your organization doing to try to address that issue? Another group that is marginalized is commercial sex workers. In most parts of the country, it is still criminalized. And then they are subject of abuse, especially by policemen. I've met a couple of them. What is the organization doing about that? Thank you.
The second question. Anyone has a question? Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Dr. Justin. You made mention of youth-friendly health services. And we know that issues of sexual health is something very specific to family, because everything starts from the family. And we know that family is oriented towards culture and religion. So what is your organization doing in trying to marry sexual education and able to convince certain cultural habits or religious belief that there are certain level of things that holding on to would actually discourage the process of enlightening these adolescents on health education?
Thank you very much for the questions. In regards to abortion and commercial sex workers, I agree that those are marginal. The sexual workers it's a very marginalized population. For us at my organization, we're not working with commercial sex workers at this time, and but we are gathering information about their peculiar needs and trying to. And so we engage with people who work with commercial sex workers and just trying to understand the risks that they have as well, and what access to services do they currently have and the challenges. So that's what we're doing, gathering that information. In terms of abortion, we don't focus on abortion. What we're doing is enlightening girls. We work in secondary schools, public secondary schools, so talking to them about the consequences of having sex. And if you're not ready for it, I mean, letting them know the facts. In Nigeria, you're not allowed to do an abortion. So how do you protect yourself from getting pregnant in the first place? So we haven't gone into advocating for abortion rights yet, but maybe we'll get there. But we want girls to really know before they get themselves into these situations. And then in regards to family, how are we talking to family members to change some of these social norms? Yes, a lot of these things are facilitated by the social norms we have. We want to engage parents, like in PTA meetings. It's something we've been discussing in schools, to really get, especially the mothers, to talk to their daughters about these issues. Most of our work has been with the girls because that's really our focus. But we are realizing that girls need their mothers to be role models to them and to change some of the thoughts they have. Even when you mentioned sex, or a girl told us the other day, she was listening about menstruation on the radio, and then when she started, she wanted to tell her mom, but her mom just waved her down. Her mom did not realize her young daughter had already started. So for a while, the girl was just hiding her underwear under the bed. It was the house help that actually found out and now informed the mother. So things like that, like how do you pay attention to your daughter's life? We're hoping to engage, but we do actually community outreaches. So that is what we've done right now. We've engaged with leaders to encourage families to start talking about these issues. It's the reality. We shouldn't shy away from it. And just because their parents did not tell them does not mean they cannot at least find out information for themselves and enlighten your students. So I hope
Yeah, can I just add a little bit to clarify some issues? I think I'm talking about the same issue of unsafe abortion. And I think the strategy Nigeria is adopting is the issue of family planning. You know, with family planning, everybody has a right to determine their sexuality. So the best approach for us to curb unsafe abortion is for us to look at, or let me say, child spacing in some people in terms of our bias against the word family planning. But basically, family planning is just not about saying you should not give birth, but give birth, you should be able to make your own decision and make your own choices. Now, the other issue in terms of the FLHE approach in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Health, Federal Ministry of Education, and even the NYSC, a lot of interventions, the FLHE, as I'm aware, has actually informed a lot of policy and even implementation. But the problem we have is about how well are we monitoring our implementation of the FLHE. Then our religious leaders, our opinion leaders have very critical role to play when it comes to implementation of these issues. So I think just to broaden it up, even talking about the value orientation, NYSC actually has under the MDGs or SDGs advocacy project, they actually have what they call the value orientation. It talks about targeting the children, the family, the entire space. So I think there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that contribution.
You're welcome.
Okay, so next I think we have Nasara. He's been asking a lot of questions, so you guys should be able to ask him.